Congressman Issa, I'm looking at these numbers. I'm looking at the actual budget figures for FY09. The deficit approaching $2 trillion, 1.75. These numbers have a World War II sound to them. And so is this scary in terms of just fiscal policy, these numbers? Or not?
Well, of course it's scary. What's scarier, though, is that President Obama has proposed that these budgets, these deficits created under a Democrat Congress, he's going to cut them in half over a long period of time. The fact is, the last time Republicans were in charge, even including the war, we were below $400 billion in deficit. So the president's not proposing getting to $200 billion or $100 billion. He's talking about getting below $1 trillion over the next few years after we double the size of the debt.
Well, I think the Democratic Party calls itself the Democratic Party, not the Democrat Party. Do we have to do this every night? Why do people talk like this? Is this just fighting words to get the name wrong?
No, this isn't intended to be fighting words.
They call themselves the Democratic Party. Let's just call people what they call themselves and stop the Mickey Mouse here. Save that for the stump. Seriously. Now let's get to the issue here. Seriously, we got a fiscal challenge. I want to go back to Congressman Frank and to some English here. Congressman Frank, are you worried about the size of these World War II numbers here? Again, 1.75 trillion deficit this year, a spending level of almost $4 trillion. We're almost running deficits as big as the revenue number we're bringing in.
Well, Chris, let me first of all come to the defense of my colleague, Mr. Issa, and the Republicanistical party that he represents, and say that...
Thanks, Barney.
You're welcome, Darrell. The point is this. For him to say, oh, these are the Democrats' deficits, I have never seen people disavow their own handiwork so quickly. And I knew that born again was an important strain in our society, but born again deficit haters, that's a new version. The Republican Party under George Bush inherited from Bill Clinton a much lower level of deficit. We were on track to, in fact, have surpluses. Alan Greenspan was worried at the end of the Clinton administration that we wouldn't have a deficit, which would make the Fed, it would make it difficult for them to do monetary policy. They ran up these enormous deficits. Now, it is true they're going up now because of the legacy of the Bush administration. This terrible financial crisis brought about, I believe, by an absence of appropriate regulation, that adds to it.
These deficits created under a Democrat Congress.
I have never seen people disavow their own handiwork so quickly. Born again deficit haters.